All right, looks like these competitors are getting ready to start here. Welcome back, everybody. We got ourselves yet another race. This is another tournament bracket match between Dinner Dog and God's Child. We're starting off with the safe preset here. Dinner Dog still runs up the stairs. Interesting. You know what? Good on him. We're going to see... Ooh, I think God's Child missed out on a little bit of hearts early on in the prologue here. But it's fine. You know, at the end of the day, the prologue, it is a place where you can choose to execute, like, better strats. But also, sometimes it's just about getting lucky with damage stacks in order to, like, get out quickly. So, primarily the damage stacks that you get on Dracula, the phase that we're seeing for Dinner Dog down here. Didn't see great damage stacks. Seems like God's Child is getting some decent stacks. Not enough to kill outright. Yeah. Oh, God's Child doesn't finish with the cross. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So the reason why starting with the cross is important, it does give you 5 extra bonus MP when you start playing as Alucard. Also, this cape, by the way, looks sick. The purple, the red, and it's like see-through. Seems like they started with Mournblade, which is quite nice. Has a good hitbox, should be decent damage as well. Oh, wait, this is safe logic. So I just now noticed on God's Child, his tracker. Apparently he does not have the Frankfurter in his inventory. He's not getting Frankfurters at all in this tournament match. Is Dinner Dog cropping his screen wrong? Yeah, he is. Okay, so Dinner Dog's screen is cropped wrong. We'll fix that after this match. So we're just going to be missing out on the bottom left-hand corner of his screen, which is strange. It didn't seem wrong when we checked it earlier, but it's fine. Oh, but we don't need to see much to know that that's a library card. So these competitors are starting with a library card right here. And is it worth keeping your gear? Onyx, highly valuable sellable ring. It's worth a lot. I think it's worth using the library card here. Yeah, I think this is a fair play. You start with decent stats, decent gear. I mean, and you have a diamond from the start. And Spike Breaker is sellable in the shop here. Let's see what else they got in the shop here. This is safe logic, so all of the item stats and sprites are going to be randomized. The names are going to be randomized. So keep in mind, mana prisms are not random, however. They are always the same. So buying a couple mana prisms doesn't seem like there's anything else that useful in the shop here. Plus 15 strength on the talisman, it looked like. So that's not bad. Seems like there's a couple of good swords, maybe, if they're feeling risky. Monster vials are cheap. I think God's Child is opting to save his money and maybe come back later. Did he buy mana prisms? I didn't see. Very interesting. The Alucard shield was there for 400. Is that true? No, that is the not the actual Alucard shield. It said Alucard shield, but the shield that's in their inventory has the potential to be Alucard shield because it has the correct sprite in their hands. So, reminder, this is best 2 out of 3. So, in order to get past this side of the bracket, these racers will have to clear 2 races. They have to win 2 races out of the 3 potential races that will be happening here. So, yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, it is tough to keep track of all of the changes that happen in safe logic. It's probably the hardest logic individual preset to just at a glance understand what's going on. So yeah, I'll try my best to keep track of everything. Chat, keep me up to date with what's going on if you think I'm missing something. It seems like the stats aren't amazing on this sword, though. Yeah, it's not even one-shotting those skeleton muskets. Granted, they are like level 2 or level 3 or something. But it's not amazing. I mean, the fact that they're not going to die anytime soon because they're constantly refilling their health is genuinely nice. A death early on in Randomizer is absolutely brutal, especially if you don't have a save already established. it's basically like game over. Like race is pretty much dead at that point because all of your beginning is just all gone. So you gain a little bit of info, I guess, of like the places you've checked or where items could be, but it's still a huge time loss. So you don't want to see that. And yeah, Godchild seems to have a sizable lead here. Not terribly large, a couple seconds, probably like 10, 15 seconds. But yeah, it makes sense that you're going to warp back to check this relic here, which ends up being a familiar, so it's not really that interesting. So but yeah, for those that are just now joining us, the idea of a safe logic preset is essentially it follows 9 minimum complexity, and we'll explain what complexity is in a little bit. There are item randomizations added, as well as the stats are random and the sprites and names of items are random. So because of that, the item in your inventory, the name of that item is probably lying to you. The stats of that item are probably not tied to which item it actually is. So for example, you could have a Chrysogrim, but with the damage of like the Tierfing, for example. So it ends up with like negative 30 attack power. Even though it is a Chrysogrim and like slashes a bunch. And then the only way to like really know the attribute of the item itself is to read the description. The description will always tell the truth as to what type of item it is and what like the item actually is meant to do. So it's additional randomization on top of all of the other types of randomization that are already active. So 57 attack power for this light cavalry sword. With the additional stat buffs on Godchild's end. You have to just not use the Mournblade anymore because it seems to have really bad stats. They are starting with Layer 0 Spike Breaker. They bought it at the shop by doing an early library card strat, which was interesting. The only other location that they have left at Layer 0 is Spirit Orb, I believe. They've already checked every other first possible check. So Spirit Orb will have to contain some sort of progression, I believe, unless I'm mistaken it. That maybe they missed something else, but very interesting. Yeah, complexity 9 essentially means that the best way to describe it is kind of like a step ladder, and each rung on the ladder is a relic. And then you need that relic to go to the next step. So, for example, if you found, I don't know, Form of Mist, that unlocks the location. Holy Rod, but it has the Shield Rod sprite. That could be good for Godchild. And that's Jewel of Open. That's like the worst case scenario. Hold on. I'll explain the ladder analogy in a second here. Jewel of Open as your first progression relic oftentimes means that you're stuck in this really bad 50-50 of either going all the way to Castle Keep at the top of the castle or going to the very bottom of the castle in the caverns. Those are the only two locations that it unlocks on its own. There are 2 locations in the caverns that it unlocks, but they're very spread out. And there's 1 location in Castle Keep that it unlocks. So it's really tough to decide which side you're supposed to go to in this scenario. My guess is these players are probably going to go down to the caverns, especially because they already have a warp to Outer Wall. That would make the most sense to me. That's the route I would personally go. There's 2 checks down there. There is a warp for me to like warp back to Outer Wall at the very least. So I'm not like completely lost. But yeah, Jewel of Open start is rough. But I do foresee both of these competitors choosing the same route here. So I'm not too worried about like route divergences mattering too much. But yeah, the idea of complexity, to get back to that, is you can think of it as a step ladder. Each step on the ladder leads to the next location. So for example, if layer 0, the very beginning of the game, gives you access to, for example, Jewel of Open for these players, anything that is guarded by Jewel of Open that they find that unlocks more of the castle for them could be considered the next step on the that step ladder. So like Layer 0 Jewel of Open, and then Layer 1 afterwards, let's say they find Soul of Bat in the caverns, that means Soul of Bat would be the next step. And you need to go up to 9. Once you hit the 9th layer, then you are in go mode and you can beat the game. That is the idea behind complexity. It essentially is forcing the players to have to go through a minimum number of relics and items acquired before the game is in a completable state. Otherwise, if it was truly random and there was no complexity, there are presets that are like this. There are presets that have 0 minimum complexity, so relics can be anywhere so long as they are obtainable in logic. That ends up feeling a lot more random. This feels less random because you can at least kind of suss out the steps in the complexity chain if you have enough information, whereas something with no complexity, there is no additional information for you to try and figure out and suss out the where relics possibly could be. The other thing that happens with complexity is because complexity works in a way where other relics are locked by other relics, essentially, high-value relics tend to find themselves in locations that are locked behind multiple relics, things like the Spikebreaker location or Silver Ring. For example, this is a great indication of complexity changing. So we had Jewel of Open as layer 0, because it was available at the very beginning of the game with 0 relics. And then layer 1 would be Leapstone. So Leapstone unlocks a few locations for these competitors. It unlocks the mines, which is available right where they're at right now. They can just go to the mines right now, which is not a bad idea. It also unlocks Coliseum. So those are the 2 locations. Mines has 2 checks, which is Granfaloon and Demon Card. And then Coliseum only has 1 check. So also, this race is quite close. Dinerdog pulling slightly ahead. I actually don't know exactly why. I think it was just slightly better movement in a few places. Doing some swag front slides from Dinerdog. You love to see it. That's an advanced technique where if you dive kick into the ground and release all inputs, by the time you touch the ground, you actually slide across the floor. Dinerdog's been skipping item checks. Makes sense. Yeah, I'm a big advocate for just skipping like 90% of the item checks that like a lot of other players end up going for. Because like this game is... There are some items that are absolutely absurd and save a bajillion years if you find them early. But also, it's like, items aren't that useful a lot of the time. Like, you give me a red rust, I'll make do. Like, I'll be able to figure it out. It'll be really slow, it'll be really painful, but I'll figure it out. Even if I had to do fists only for most fights, it's like, you know, it's not the end of the world. Why is Dinerdog wearing 2 rings of Fenanor? Didn't that say golden ring to rule them all, but doesn't change the stats at all? Did he get baited? Very interesting. Yeah, there are some potential for some save split routes as well. The idea of saving your game, and if you go to a location that's really far out of the way and it doesn't have what you need, you just reset. I think you grab the snorkel. Yeah, grab the snorkel. Both players smoking on that Holy J. You love to see it. They're pretty much tied. Ooh, but the Gremlin, being an absolute Gremlin, keeping God's Child slightly farther behind. They are kind of just trading back and forth this lead here. Ooh, but yeah, Covenant Stone seems to be the item. Again, Dinerdog's a little cropped. He like cropped the gameplay wrong. We can mostly see what's going on, but the very bottom of the screen is a little cropped. Weird. I'll have him fix it before the next match, so don't worry about that, guys. But we mostly see what's going on. We're just missing out on the names of the items that he's picking up most of the time. Both of them saving here. I think this is the right play because they're going to go to Granfaloon. Oh, wait, but they have Spikebreaker. They can check the Spikebreaker location out of logic right now if they wanted to. So my guess is you check Granfaloon first, then reset, and then check Spikebreaker if you're going for the save split. Yep, they're both doing it, and they're like literally tied. Like frame for frame tied right now. Oh, it's a meal ticket. Oh, Dinerdog gets baited by the meal ticket. God's Child playing it kind of slow and steady. Going for the Hellfire to get past the Hellfire Beast himself, which is funny. Dinerdog says, screw it, I'm just going to damage boost. Very interesting. Hydration check if you're watching. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. You should subscribe so that way you can watch more tournament action as it happens. You can also watch live on twitch.tv/DragonBlitz. And while you're clicking that subscribe button, take a sip of some water. Oh my god. Godchild is going for another save. Why? Oh, he's doing the item check. That's so greedy. He was ahead. That's such a greedy item check. Wow. Godchild is really trying to find something. Find something cheeky, I guess. He had full HP, full MP for the most part. That felt a little silly to me, not gonna lie. Oh, he's in the menu. He's looking for something to dance. Oh, is he gonna Vile Stack? Really? Honestly, Dinner Dog is struggling. Maybe this Vile Stack is the correct play. Yeah, Vile Stack was the correct play. That's going to get Godchild right back into the lead. So long as he can finish this menu quickly. Nice. You love to see it. That is allowed. That is one of the few glitches that are allowed in this tournament. There are a few other glitches that also exist that are allowed because they're like so easy to trigger. That kind of falls in line. The Vile Stack itself also kind of falls in line with being easy enough to trigger. What? Wow, gravity boots. So this could have been so much worse, by the way. It could have been so much worse. Wow. The other reason why Vile Stacking is allowed is because it's kind of hype. So, yeah, we're looking at... they have 3 progression relics currently, and they need to get to 9. The 9th one being the final Vlad, or I guess technically Holy Glasses can technically count, but it's very rare that that's the case. So, very strange. The fact that they've had 2 50-50s, essentially, area-wise, not necessarily purely relic-wise, but 2 50-50s area-wise, and they both ended up working out for these players is quite interesting. Gothchild still not that far ahead, all things considered, and they have Spike Breaker out of Logic. Dinner Dog probably isn't forgetting that. Yep. Gothchild definitely doesn't forget that either. So the in-game logic doesn't expect you to be able to go through the spike room without some sort of visibility, like the echo. That's actually the only way to get through it is with bat and echo. That's the way that the randomizer expects you to do it. However, these people have played the game a lot. The spike room, especially when you already have the spike breaker, is easy to navigate blind. Like, you don't need the lights on for it. So this is one of those high value locations that is usually locked by multiple relics, 3 relics specifically for this. And it's a Vlad relic, so that means these players can kind of confidently, as long as they don't find Bat and Echo extremely early in the chain, they can kind of assume that that is the final Vlad Relic, that is the deepest possible Vlad Relic in complexity, which is good to find early. So, very, very nice. Yeah, you don't need Flight to get down to Catacombs. In-game, you need Leapstone and Jewel of Open. The Spikebreaker location is also considered to be locked behind 3 relics, which is minimum Jewel of Open, Soul of Bat, and Echo of Bat. So, and Soul of Bat is a high-value relic that is often saved for later parts of the complexity chain because it is so powerful that the Soul of Bat on its own opens up, like, it skips immediately to both Flight plus a transformation, which skips a lot of potential relics like Leapstone into Gravity Boots into Soul of Wolf. Those 3 relics are completely, what's the word? Obsoleted? They become obsolete by just the Soul of Bat in Logic. My poor English aside, I hope you guys get the point that I'm trying to make, please. They're opting not to warp. Very interesting. I guess they want to clear caverns from here, and they don't want to backtrack for it? I mean, it makes sense. There are flight locations inside of caverns, specifically the Gold Ring location is the only flight-locked location that I can think of. Unless they're planning on doing Merman Statue into Entrance and going from there, I personally would have warped to Entrance from here and have planned on coming back later, maybe with Merman Statue. Because these players, they can't check the Holy Symbol location. Okay, they are finally splitting off and doing 2 separate routes. And they were basically tied up to this point. So everything up to here is now going to come down to a mixture of execution and route decision. But the route decisions were basically identical up to this point, which is very interesting. It's very rare that you see up 20 minutes into a race where both competitors are basically choosing the same thing the entire time. And for it to work out this well. This is still a tight race. Yeah, Godchild is... doing a save split? Why, huh? Why would you save split here just for gold ring? This feels like a little bit inefficient. I feel like Dinner Dog's route at the very least is a little bit better because it's like combining multiple checks that are like have the potential to be important, but Dinner Dog finds nothing though. Godchild is checking a flight location though, so I guess in logic it's higher odds to be important because of that. So but Dinner Dog is also about to be checking his first flight location and got a random check done at the same time. So I feel like Dinner Dog's route is technically more efficient because you do need to do random checks. Like, just because a check is like not the next possible step in the complexity chain doesn't mean that you shouldn't skip it, because especially when you're missing out on random Vlads, because the game needs, in order to finish the game, you need 5 Vlad relics. And I think these players are pretty relatively confident that they have at least one, if not the final Vlad. So there's 4 random Vlads potentially missing, and both of those places end up being duds. Wow. They finished their checks at the same time. So because of that, I think doing random checks and doing check density, along with trying to prioritize high complexity locations, is probably the best bet. And I think Dinner Dog's route ended up statistically being better for that, even though he ends up missing out on anything important. But he's already done those checks, so he's in a good spot. There's a chance that Dinner Dog will waste time going back to check the gold ring location later, and it ends up being nothing, so it's not that big of a deal for Godchild, I guess. But now he's doing extra backtracking. This whole section through the caverns that Godchild is doing is something that Dinner Dog won't have to do. So I think his route ends up being better because of that. Dinner Dog, on the other hand, getting stuck on that rock. Succubus had nothing, Castle Entrance had nothing, and Merman Statue had nothing. So far, these players haven't found anything in after grabbing Gravity Boots, and obviously the Eye of Vlad. So yeah, if Dinner Dog ends up finding Merman Statue later, he'll probably combine Succubus with it, which is more efficient, right? The only punish for that is if Succubus has Merman Statue. There's a random Vlad relic right there, Ring of Vlad for Dinner Dog. So yeah, Dinner Dog's route, I think, is going to be slightly better in this case. Mostly because he's missing out on backtracking through the caverns, and the caverns are very large, and you don't have access to the to wing smashing through them, and just shield dashing through the caverns is just so slow. It's just genuinely so slow. Yep. And Dinner Dog is getting so many more high-value checks done now, because all of the checks in Alchemy Lab are considered like locked by Gravity Boots, which is their most recent progression item. So all the Alchemy Lab checks have the potential to lead to progression. Or maybe it's just 2 random Vlads. I don't know. Wow. So this seed looks kind of crazy. 2 random Vlads remain. From our perspective, it's possible that one of them is a like the max complexity Vlad relic, the 9 complexity Vlad relic. But yeah, the fact that you have 3 Vlad relics in your inventory, that gives you so much more confidence if you choose to try and skip some locations. I would still check every flight location if I was Dinner Dog, because flight is what's locking the next step in the chain. But for example, if Dinner Dog wants to abandon stuff in the first castle and go to the second castle early, once he finds Holy Glasses, he'll have a lot more confidence doing so. It seems like Godchild is basically going to be doing the same route that Dinner Dog has already done, but with the added gold ring check, but gold ring was nothing. So I think Godchild is just straight up losing a decent amount of time for that. I don't know how much. It also depends on if Dinner Dog goes back and loses time on gold ring later. If Dinner Dog ends up losing time on gold ring later, we'll see if it ends up evening out, but I think Dinner Dog's route is still more efficient. Even if he goes back, like, even if he went back right now, I feel like Dinner Dog's route is still more efficient. Maybe not. No, I think it still might be. I think Dinner Dog would still be ahead if he went to Gold Ring right now by a little bit. Not by a lot. But obviously he's choosing not to do that. which is interesting to think about. That God's Child's route could have been optimized by doing what Dinner Dog did and then went to Gold Ring afterwards. That would still be better than what he did, it seems. Just because you're avoiding moving through the caverns. Because the caverns is just so slow. Straight up, like, it's just so slow. Ooh, that's an equipment item. Dinner Dog's opting to skip it, really? Interesting play. I mean, it kind of makes sense because you have in your mind, you have the final Vlad relic. So skipping out on a random ring doesn't necessarily hurt you that much. And you know where it is if you need to come back for it. And there is a warp that's kind of close. I don't hate this play, but it is a little risky. I'm not going to lie. It was either silver ring or gold ring because it was the it was that belt icon. It was an equipment icon. It wasn't a headpiece icon. If it was a headpiece icon, that means it would have been holy glasses. So Dinner Dog is, yep, going to outer wall here. Ooh, you know what else is locked by gravity boots that I don't think these players are going to check anytime soon? Fairy card. Fairy card has the potential to be the next progression item because it's in logic locked by gravity boots. And these players, when they library carded initially, they didn't have access to check that location. So it's quite interesting. Gas cloud. Yeah, I could see skipping it. You don't have mist right now. Dinner Dog doing these checks. Ooh, bonks his head. Doesn't get hit by any of the skeleton ghosts. Ice cream's so good. Yum, yum. Yeah, Dinner Dog's route is just, like, so much better, right? Like, he's already, like, 2 extra checks ahead. He's about to enter Castle Keep. Like, I really feel if Dinner Dog went to Gold Ring and came back, it still would have been better. They have to be rings, right, if they're in a relic location? Correct, yeah. So that item that Dinner Dog skipped is guaranteed to either be Gold Ring or Silver Ring. And the players do know that. So Dinner Dog is skipping it on purpose. Which makes sense, because it is like a slow check to do. But... And it's not guaranteed to lead to progression. My guess is God's Child grabs it. I think God's Child is a little bit more safe in his approach and will end up grabbing the relic. That's my guess. Yeah, he's grabbing it. Sorry, not the relic, but the item. Oh, just kidding. He changed his mind. He said, never mind. Fuck this shit. I'm out. All right. So I was wrong. Well, I do think it's a good play. At the end of the day, I think it's a good play. I think this is a smart decision because it's not guaranteed to lead to progress. And oh my, especially when you have 4 Vlad relics. Ooh, in the first castle. Wow. Yeah, I think that's not a bad play. And for example, if you know that it has to lead to glasses for whatever reason, you can just go back for it because the glasses are right there. And there's a warp right there. So it's not the end of the world to skip it right now. I think it's... Huh? What? What? Wait. Oh my God. It's Fairy Card! Like I said! Fairy Card has like a transformation or something? Or it's Sword Card, actually. It's either Fairy Card or Sword Card. And Dinner Dog doesn't know that it's not at... Oh, he has such a bad decision tree right now. Dinner Dog either needs to go to Sword Card, go to Fairy Card, or go all the way to Caverns again. If he goes to Caverns right now, I think he loses a lot of time. Unless he save splits it, somehow. But he's going to check Sword Card first. Okay. He needs either... It's either a transformation... Wait, huh? Wait, Godchild is already doing all Rox's quarters. Oh, he's going this way! Oh... It's Fairy Card, because that was Force of Echo. Wow. That's so rough, because these players, the last thing they're thinking is going back to the library with no library cards, right? If these players happen to have found another library card they would have found it so much faster, right? They would have used the library card to like save them time somewhere. But now they're both going to have to go back to Alrox's quarters probably later with a transformation is my guess. It also, because all 5 Vlad relics are in the first castle, I'm feeling like very nervous. It comes down to who finds glasses first. And holy glasses could either just be randomly found as the next progression item, which would be huge, or it's both rings? Because they skipped a ring, so the other ring could be at fairy card, and then both rings lead to glasses, or both rings lead to a transformation, and then they go to Alrox to find the glasses. There's a lot of potential mix-ups here. So it's all going to come down to what they find at fairy card, which is very interesting. The question is, will Dinerdog opt to go to fairy card first, or go check Succubus first? From his perspective, I imagine if he was going to check Succubus, he would do it from here. So I think he's going to the library, which means he's probably just going to skip Succubus altogether. Wow. Yeah, so Dinerdog is skipping Succubus altogether. Not bad. Good routing. Kind of gets lucky, I guess. I still think Dinerdog's route overall was better to begin with. Godschild won't get baited by Dinerdog. Oh, he's back. We're back. Whew. So Godschild is just straight up behind still by a decent amount because Dinerdog is about to find the next progression item. He already did the other stuff. Godschild will be finding all 5 Vlad relics. But now it's going to come down to who finds holy glasses first. And then from there, who has the combat and movement abilities to get through the second castle to get to the end of the game. And what does Dinerdog find here? Oh, it's the other ring! Oh, shit! Okay, so he's going to warp back from here to Alrox's quarters, which is actually not bad. That's, like, not that bad. Like I said, them skipping out on the ring wasn't that bad of a decision. In the moment. Oh, God's Child. Oh, God's Child. He hasn't done Fire of Bat. Oh, he's going to do Fire of Bat first and then check the library. Oh, no. Yeah, Dinerdog's route, I think, is just better, right? I think Dinerdog has a massive lead right now because Dinerdog has full confidence in skipping Succubus. So there's no way he checks Succubus. He knows where both rings are. Wait, did he not pick up the ring? It's not on his tracker. What? Wait, it was glasses? Oh, I'm stupid. Oh. Yeah, GG's Dinerdog. Congratulations. Remember when we all said it was glasses? I thought you were lying, okay? How hard is it for me to believe that you all are lying in conspiracy against me, okay? In a conspiracy against me. Wow. What was the prediction? Let's see. How did it end up? Ooh, wow. Yeah, 72% of you guys banking on Dinerdog here. Ends up being the correct horse to bet on. Godschild didn't do that bad. Straight up, execution-wise, they were neck and neck the whole time. It just came down to the one decision that, technically 2 decisions, that Dinerdog made by skipping Gold Ring. Which, as it turns out, would have just been faster no matter how you split it, which is nice to know for future reference. But also, him doing Alrox's quarters after, instead of warping to Castle Keep, I think Dinerdog's route there as well was a little bit better. Yeah, this is probably the best safe logic seed we've seen in the entire tournament, including the preliminaries. Wow. Because I imagine this is going to be like a sub 50 seed pretty easily, even without any transformations. They should be easily sub 50 here, which safe logic seeds can go upwards of like an hour and 10 pretty commonly. So sub 40? I don't think so. It'll be like a 41, 42 on Dinner Dog's end with 0 mistakes. With this movement and with his damage output, it'll be like a 41, 42. It also depends on... Yeah, he doesn't seem to have... He's using a strength potion. Like, it feels like he's missing out on damage. He's still using the starting sword, which we knew was not very good. So yeah, this is looking like to maybe be like a 2 or 3 cycle versus Dracula is my guess. If somehow Godchild is able to catch up based off of damage, that would be interesting, because I think Godchild has better damage. I think punching Medusa is actually better in that scenario, yes. I'm a big advocate for giving Medusa the fist, you know what I'm saying? We've all wanted to do it, and it turns out it's good. It is good to do. Oh, Godchild's getting greedy with item checks, never mind. The fist is super effective against Medusa, yes. Mace? I don't know how I feel about that. Monster Vial. Well, Godchild might be able to do some vial stacking, potentially. I don't know if he has another explosive that he can use. Asafune Katana. Wait, I don't think Dinner Dog picked that up. He has the Holy Rod. The Holy Rod's pretty good. The Holy Rod on its own can kind of solo, as long as it has decent stats. Yeah, it seems like the two-handed sword was actually bad. My bad. And Dinner Dog did pick it up. I lied. Wow. All right, well, shoot. All right, Dinner Dog has a clear, probably like 3-minute advantage at this point. Yeah, it really came down to Godchild's decision for Gold Ring and the item checks, and a little bit the decision to check Aurochs's quarters instead of going to Castle Keep, which I don't necessarily blame him for that. Like, it's not like the worst idea ever. It just feels less efficient because you're going really far out of your way for exactly one check. However, if that was glasses, Godchild would have won. So, you know, it did kind of come down to where the glasses were, because the glasses were locked behind flight early on enough. So if the glasses were in a look, if glasses, for example, was at Gold Ring, Godchild would be winning. So, like, you can't even be too mad if you're Godchild in this scenario. Like, the more I think about it, it did kind of come down a little bit to luck. I do, however, think Dinner Dog's route was more efficient, and he got rewarded for that, because that is also like a macro decision-making factor. You have to ask yourself, like, is the idea of me doing as many checks as possible over the course of an entire tournament season in a specific way to maximize, like, success? Like, that is a macro strategy, where in, like, individual item checks, relic checks, if they don't necessarily go your way, it doesn't necessarily mean that your strategy was bad or wrong. It just means that you might have gotten unlucky in that scenario. So I think Dinner Dog doing more density, higher density checks, whilst also understanding the complexity well, ended up mattering a lot more in this scenario. I think Godchild went for a couple of, like, individual checks that were too far out of the way to, in the grand scheme, be worth it. But if they happened to be exactly what he needed, because he wasn't checking things for no reason, they were still flight-locked locations. If he happened to have found glasses early enough, he probably would have just won. So it's not even, like, a bad strategy necessarily. I think he got a little unlucky, but it was also more likely for him to get unlucky because of the strategies he chose, if that makes sense. Also, 5 Vlad relics in the first castle, like, 2 of them being in Alchemy Lab, 2 of them being in Castle Keep. Like, that's so insane. That's legitimately wild. Boomerang! Dinner Dog's throwing boomerangs? No shot. He's that hurt for damage? He's going to throw 9 boomerangs individually at Dracula? I mean, he's strength potioned first, but he's not at risk of dying. He's constantly healing. But, like, man. No transformation is kind of rough. I don't think they're in danger of dying or taking damage, like, in a bad way necessarily. They got the Mornblade. They'll be fine. No transformations is rough for moving through the second castle, though. That is for sure. I would Hellfire, or I would Summon Spirit and backdash through them. But I guess that's one way to deal with the Minotaurs. Crazy first race. Safe logic, I was not expecting to be done in 40 minutes. Straight up. Wow. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Dinner Dog's out of boomerangs. Okay, he's fine. He's going to heal back up. But this is definitely not a one cycle. Easily not a one cycle. Even though I can only see 2 pixels at a time on Dinner Dog's perspective, I know for a fact it's not a one cycle. Yeah, this was a fantastic race. Oh, punch in the fist. Giving Pops the high five. You just Hellfire this to dodge. He's going to uncurse into Hellfire would be the correct play. Oh, 1 uncurse is enough to dodge it, actually? Never mind. Dinner Dog's goated with the sauce. What can I say? Soul Steal's another good one, yeah. I think the Hellfire is just easier to time because it lasts so long. Oh, man. Poor Godchild. Dinner Dog doesn't get the 2 cycle. This should be a 3 cycle, right? Surely. I didn't see how much damage he was doing. But I don't think Godchild can catch up. Even if he had Alucard Shield, I don't think he can catch up. Unless Dinner Dog like takes a ton of damage and spends like 45 seconds in the menu. But no, Dinner Dog's really good at dodging these attacks. I mean, he is a top level player for a reason. Okay, 1 damage. That's not a big deal. Opens the menu unnecessarily. Godchild a little greedy for just anything else to increase his damage, I guess. No way this isn't a 3 cycle. Come on, Dinner Dog. Straight up. No shot. You're better off punching the man. What are you swinging your sword for? Okay, it was a 3 cycle. A slow 3 cycle, but we made it through. Whew, 42 minutes. Like I said, with this damage and this, it was a 42-minute time. I was correct at the start of this, all right? That was crazy. Wow. GG's. Congrats, Dinner Dog, for the win. Close race, all things considered. Very close race. Godchild with the... I think he acknowledged it, right? He's going to finish up. He's so close. We'll let Godchild finish. What was that monster vial for? Did he not have a plan for that? Can you vial stack with... No, he's giving up now. Yeah, that's fair. Can you vial stack with spells? Interesting. Anyways, we're going to take a short break, and we will be right back with race number 2 from these 2 competitors. We're back with race number 2. We got Dinner Dog, who is up a game, and Godchild. And no, I did not forget to change the overlay. Godchild said, no, run it back. And this is perfectly allowed within the rules. The idea of the tournament rules that we currently have for the best 2 out of 3 is that we have multiple presets that are possible to be played. And in this scenario, Dinner Dogs is still cropped a little bit weird. Whatever, it's fine. We live and we learn. Gamba, yes, I will do that as well. But it is perfectly fine within the tournament rules to run back a preset that you lost. The only rules around the ban system is that the person who is choosing the next preset, the person who gets the counter pick, is not allowed to counter pick a preset they've already won with. And you're just not allowed to pick something that is banned. Those are the only 2 rules. So Dinner Dog, if he wanted to, he could ban safe logic. Granted, you usually don't ban the thing you win with, so since Dinner Dog won the safe logic race, it doesn't make sense to ban it. So he chose to ban Nimble instead, I believe. And Gottschalk said, no. That first time, it was a fluke. Run it back. I'm confident that we can win the safe logic race. And we'll see. The only thing that I'm worried about, however, is my internet seems to be... Oh, is this Twitch? Is it me? I haven't dropped any frames. Is it Canada? They're both Canadian. Uh-oh. Oh, and we're back. I think we're good. So it seems like Canada had an internet outage. Yes, they are splicing. They are cheating. Get all of your jokes out now. But we are back. We didn't miss much. They're pretty much tied. Sword named Graham. Unfortunate that they're losing the Graham. That is a great weapon to start with. But they're back at it again. Bladelier with the Thunder Brand Sprite and a random Vlad to start with, Rib of Vlad. That increases their constitution, so their survivability will be up from the start, so that's not too bad. I didn't get a chance to check the weapon stats. I'll look on Dinner Dog's screen when he opens up the menu and puts it on, if he ever does. It's one-shotting the sword, or with the sword, those skeletons, which doesn't mean much. If he one-shots the axe armors, I'll be impressed. It has like a red sprite to it. What sword is that? Is it the Gurthang? Oh, but Gottschalk gets poisoned. That's rough. Oh, it is the Gurthang. Okay, it's Gurthang. That's great. So the fun fact about the Gurthang is its damage is based off of the random stats that it's given. However, you can buff the damage of the weapon. And if I remember correctly, the buffed damage is vanilla. So no matter what your stats on the Gurthang are, as long as you do the item buff, which is Dark Metamorphosis, as Gottschalk just did for us, that increases your damage by a lot. It's 2.2 times. Oh, and it has 33 base attack power currently. That's pretty good. Yeah, this is enough to solo the entire game. Gurthang is like good enough to beat the entire game with. If I'm Dinner Dog or Godchild, I'm doing like 0 extra item checks from here on out. Only the item checks that are literally right in front of me. But that's personally how I choose to play the randomizer, where I wait to find like a good enough weapon where it's like, okay, if I find nothing else for the rest of the run, this is enough to get me through. So not bad. And his Dark Metamorphosis does last a decent amount of time. Ooh, Dinner Dog getting poisoned now. Yeah, Gottschald's still in the lead by a tiny bit, not by a lot. Also, keep in mind that Gottschald's stream, because we're using the timers to keep track, is about a second ahead, but still, Gottschalk still has a pretty sizable lead, I would say. Yeah, there are plenty of places in Randomizer where you can activate Dark Metamorphosis, and it doesn't cost you any time. If you're riding an elevator where you have control, like I'm thinking the elevator in Alchemy Lab, if you are riding the boat for going to Holy Symbol location. We have no audio from either game. That is on purpose. I mean, I can give you guys game audio. Sure. Do you want it? Banger. I'll give you guys... Sure, we'll go with some game audio. Here, we'll go with some game audio from God's Child. One of the reasons why I'm not using the game audio is to try and avoid copyright claims, because there are some really annoying copyright claim stuff that's been going on recently with Symphony of the Night soundtrack, specifically the Castle entrance song Marble Gallery, and Tragic Prince, the Clock Tower song. Those 3 are getting claimed by a entity that I do not believe owns the rights to those songs, but understanding who owns the rights to what music in the current year, 2023, is difficult because that stuff's not public knowledge. So there's a non-zero chance that I guess Konami sold the rights to some random company for just those 3 songs, but I highly doubt it. None of my old VODs have gotten tagged. Yeah, they're probably specifically only checking new uploads, which is something that a lot of those kind of bots can do. I've learned more about this recently because I keep getting flagged for the Symphony of the Night soundtrack, and it's very frustrating. I even had a nice Twitter conversation with at YouTube, and they basically hit me with sorry, did you dispute it? Did you do the thing that does nothing? Aw. It's really annoying.
Dark Metamorphosis!
Well, that's the thing, is Konami was doing it to make money. Why wouldn't they copyright the entire soundtrack, and why would it not go back to, like, Konami's actual publishing? Because Konami has a music publishing branch, so the fact that it doesn't go to them makes me feel like either they sold the rights to those 3 songs particularly for some reason, even though that doesn't feel right to me, or it's somebody who made a cover of those 3 songs because they happen to be popular songs, and then is using the cover to trick the automated system within YouTube to claim those songs because they're popular. I personally think it's option number 2. But again, there's no way for us to know. YouTube's just broken, and we all get to just live with it. Isn't it fun? The Ryu theme was fucked because of that for a while. Yeah, there's other songs that are, like, notable. It happens a lot with, especially anything that isn't currently being claimed can become claimed by a third party. That's what I've learned, is if a certain musical sound or, did Dinner Dog not open the elevator? Oh, but he gets a random Zweihander drop. It's a 2-hander. That could matter. Dinner Dog getting the random 2-hander could matter. Hold on. Shut up about YouTube. Let's get back to the match here. Dinner Dog's only slightly behind, but that random drop, you could see on the tracker, it lit up with the Claymore. That is essentially telling the players that you have a weapon that has access to a thrust attack, which also gives them access to a dive kick attack. And dive kicks are really important in this game because the only way to chain gravity jumps is to have access to a dive kick. If you do a grounded gravity jump, and if you try to do more afterwards with just the gravity boots, then it wouldn't work. However, Godchild gets Leapstone, so it doesn't matter anymore. Leapstone is essentially dive kicks on demand, plus extra height whenever you want to jump, so they're fine. However, this race is really close, just like last time. They seem to be pretty much even execution-wise, movement-wise. The routes seem to be pretty much the same. You love to see a close race like this. Godchild gets the dive kick, so does Dinner Dog. This is an out-of-logic check, and it's a random Vlad plus a library card plus a bat pentagram. That's a good room. That's full of good stuff. You love to see it. Wow. Let's see what's in the shop. Gold ring, good to buy. Mana prisms are in the shop, but they're expensive. Everything else here seems... Duplicator! How much was that duplicator? It looked cheap. 4K? And they have the library card so they can come back here later when they find money. Ooh, we got ourselves a duplicator seed. You love to see it. And the fact that we have to wait for them to actually grab it is, like, also kind of cool. Not bad. Godchild killing a lot of enemies, but is slowing down because of it. Dinner Dog is taking the lead. They're pretty much tied. Oh, but Godchild trying to find extra cash wherever he can. He wants that duplicator. He needs the duplicator. But in the meantime, Dinner Dog is just outpacing him. He's just moving faster. Godchild is cursed. Can't do jack all. All he can do is use his fists for now. Ooh, cool damage boost. I actually like that. Godchild has extra stuff in his relic layout. Yeah. Yeah, he does have 0 corn dogs. If we look at Godchild's, everybody take a quick look over there. The corn dog over there is not in his inventory. He wants to make it very clear he does not get any corn dogs. So that is something that is special about Godchild's tracker. It makes me think that he might be using cheats to prevent corn dogs from spawning, because we haven't seen a corn dog this entire time. So I think we might have to suspend Godchild on suspicions of cheating, perhaps? Just more tournament drama, what can I say? Speaking of drama, not really drama, but more confusion, Godchild is really... Oh, no! Oh, that's such a big blunder! Wow. Godchild has a library card on the tracker. Why does he have library card on the tracker, actually? That is a good point. That's not supposed to be there. I'm pretty sure it's manual. You know what? If it's manual, I'll allow it. If somehow he modified the tracker to auto-track library cards, then that's definitely not allowed. But also, I don't think it's explicitly banned in my tournament rule set. We might be in malicious compliance territory? I don't think he did either. We'll ask him out of curiosity, because he'll be honest. And even then, Godchild, I don't think means any harm by it. So I'll say, to get all of the sus and all of the bad vibes aside, I'll give it a chill out of 10. It's chill.
And make them your slaves.
It wasn't there when it was gray, so it's manual. Okay, there we go. Talik has done the investigative work. It's a manual tracker thing. It's chill. The vibes are restored, guys. Speaking of vibes, Dinner Dog. Oh! Early Merman. That could matter. Holy crap. Thank you for the sub, Indy, by the way. A lot was happening. Unless this is Gravity Boots. It didn't matter. Never mind. But it was cool. It was objectively cool. Was it time wasted? Not necessarily. I mean, you're still doing the checks at relatively the same speed. It's not bad. And yeah, Power of Wolf I think is worth grabbing. Godchild says, nah, I ain't messing with that flea ladder bullshit. Finds Merman statue. He's going to go around for it. Doesn't have a lot of MP, so he's going to have to be careful. Uh-oh. Oh, the dive kick.
Tribute. You steal men's
Kilobyte.
souls and make them your slaves.
Thank you for the sub. Much appreciated. Oh, I was trying to touch tips with Richter. Don't mind me. Next time I get a sub, I'll touch tips with Richter. Also, this song hurts my head a little bit. Not going to lie. I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit. It's everyone's favorite song. It was because it's very loud, and I don't know how loud it is for you guys. It shouldn't be terribly loud, but it's very loud for me. Yeah, Dinner Dog feels like he's massively ahead, right? It was just down to like some extra item checks, right? And movement. But because of that, like, Dinner Dog has a very large lead. Godchild, I don't believe... Yeah, he didn't check the attic, did he? I don't think he did. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, Dinner Dog, again, with a pretty solid lead. Welcome, Thoso. What is he doing from here? Where is he warped to? Back to castle entrance? No. Yes, sorry, I forgot. That's not what castle. Yeah. So Godchild is also doing castle entrance, along with a few extra item checks, because he's maybe a little bit greedy. He's just a whittle baby. He just wants a whittle extra tweet. He just wants a whittle extra item checks. And Godchild is skipping doing Fire of Bat right now, which is fine. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with skipping Fire of Bat right this second. But it's also skipping entrance, which is a flight-locked location. That feels a little weird to me. However, statistically speaking, there are... Thank you, Talik, for that post. I can't say it out loud, so if you're watching on YouTube, you should have joined the live stream. In the live chat, you would have gotten a really great post from Talik Zealot. That's why you gotta join the live stream, twitch.tv/DragonBlitz. Hey, and subscribe while you're there. Or subscribe while you're on YouTube. Subscribe wherever. Just anywhere there's a subscribe button. Just click it. Figure it out. I believe in you. So yeah, like I said, Godchild is doing more individual flight-locked locations. He's not necessarily being rewarded for it because, at least in this scenario, Gravity Boots was the relic that they found. Ooh, Dinner Dog finds nothing. But these locations are locked by Gravity Boots. So because of that, he has a higher likelihood of finding something good. He finds Spike Breaker, which doesn't necessarily immediately increase the complexity, because Spike Breaker on its own does not unlock anything new for these players. They also need to have Jewel of Open, for example, to get... and Mist? Yeah. So they need Jewel of Open and Mist for that to matter. Sword of Dawn drop for Godchild. Some sort of random two-handed sword that isn't a thrust sword, because it didn't light up the thrust sword icon on the tracker. So it's probably a katana of some sort. Not bad. Could be good. Increases power with gameplay. Red Rust. Oh, they're both terrible. Yeah, Bladely Dare or Baldier. Baldy? I forget the name of that sword. Not good. And then Red Rust, obviously, it's so good that it's banned, which is why I meant that it's not good, because it's not good for the competitors to find it because it's too good. Bad Elair. I like Baldlier, because calling it bald is funny. Because we're here on twitch.tv, twitch.television, where bald equals funny. That is correct. If you call something bald, it is immediately comedy. Oh God, it's gonna... No. You almost got me, Swarm. You almost got me. Try to get me banned. You can't... Why is that? I don't understand. Why I don't have the thing set up for hype chats, but yet hype chats will still play the noise and do the text-to-speech. I don't get it. Professional streamer. Yes, every streamer doesn't understand how their setup works. Everyone knows that. Thank you for the $5, by the way, Swarm. I'm sorry if I upset you by parrying your text-to-speech message. Ooh, random Vlad. All right, back to the match. Yeah, I have the Patreon alerts, the sub alerts, and the donation alerts, the bit alerts set up. Hype chats are like a new thing that I set up for the blindfolded thing, but I don't have the blindfolded text-to-speech stuff set up on this scene. So that means it's pulling the sound from a different scene and playing it through my desktop audio, I guess. So I'm going to figure that out later, I guess. Yeah, hype chats are literally copy-paste of YouTube super chats because Twitch sees something that YouTube is doing that's, like, kind of good and is like, this is mine now, but I'm going to do it with zero support after announcing it and pushing it out initially. So... it seems like, overall, Godchild's route ended up working out pretty well. If Godchild gets baited later, just to recap everything that's going on, because I've been talking about nonsense this whole time, Godchild has not done Fire of Bat and has not done Entrance. Meanwhile, Dinner Dog has. Other than that, the routes are pretty much identical. Dinner Dog had a big lead early on, But since then, God's Child, by skipping those 2 locations, has caught up and has 3 out of 5 Vlad relics, which is quite good. They both have library cards. They've both opted to not use them yet. So God's Child isn't missing out on anything currently. We'll see if he ends up going back for some checks right now. Dinner Dog is doing this check, finds Silver Ring, but it's not actually Silver Ring because they already have Silver Ring. Could be a sellable. That could be enough to buy a duplicator, actually, now that I think about it. That's a weird check. Who does that check? I guess he's opening the shortcut for later, actually, now that I think about it. That's actually smart. No, he's doing that to open the shortcut in case he has to go from Castle Keep to Silver Ring, and then from Silver Ring to the Holy Glasses location, which is possible. Having that shortcut there could be nice. Oh, God's Child's getting baited now, yeah. I don't blame him, because he hasn't found progression yet that was flight locked. Does that mean it's at Sword Card? Yes, it is at Sword Card. Because Dinner Dog has checked everything, except for Sword Card, I'm pretty sure. That's flight locked. God's Child is missing out on Sword Card, Castle Entrance, which he's doing right now, and Fire of Bat. He's probably going to do this, then do Fire of Bat, then do Sword Card. So all of the time God's Child just saved. The reason why I think he's going to do that is because of the warp cycles. It makes sense to do it in that rotation. But Dinner Dog has already done that stuff, so he doesn't have to worry about that. He's just going straight to Sword Card. So he's saving a lot of time here because he's already done those checks. He was ahead before then anyway, so it seems like Dinner Dog gets his lead back. Even if God's Child opts to skip Fire of Bat right now, which is objectively the correct play from our position, but God's Child doesn't know that, Dinner Dog is still in the lead, just from that one extra check. Masamune, another two-handed sword. Two-handed swords are the epitome of feast or famine in this game. It's either you get Masamune or Yasasuna, or even Asafune. Oh, Dinner Dog forgets no transformation. Yep, he figures it out. Or you get like a random thrust sword that sucks ass. So thrust swords or two-handed swords in general in this game are either amazing or terrible. Oh no! Oh no! Don't use your library card for this! Oh no, God's Child, no! Oh, and Dinner Dog gets an extra library card! Oh! He never got the warp for Outer Wall, and he's using his library card here. Meanwhile, Dinner Dog has an extra library card. He's going to be able to buy the duplicator and have infinite library cards. God's Child doesn't have enough money to buy the duplicator!
Thank you. Farewell.
Oh, that's like such a blunder. Oh, all because he forgot to get the Outer Wall warp. If he got the Outer Wall warp, he would have done the route that I said where he would check Fire of Bat. But I think if he doubled down and said, no, I'm not going to check that. Instead, I'm going to go check Sword Card first. At the very least, you could library card after checking Sword Card if you're going to library card anyways. That's the way I see it. I think God's Child made a panic decision or because he made an earlier mistake. This is actually a really good lesson about just like racing in general or like doing anything when you're under pressure. It's not necessarily the first mistake that loses you the race. Because technically speaking, him not getting that warp didn't lose him the race. But using the library card to make up for the fact that he made that first mistake is actually what killed him. So it's not the first mistake that necessarily kills you. It's the ones that you make because of those mistakes. They like compound on top of each other. If God's Child had took a breath and said, you know what? I'm going to cut my losses and kind of do the best that I can do from this scenario. I made a mistake. I'm going to do the best to move on from that. He would be in a better spot. I think he would still be technically losing, but it just feels so bad because now you're just like, okay, mistake compounded on mistake. And I mean, that's just so demoralizing. Honestly, God's Child, put the corn dog on screen. Get rid of the circle with the X through it. Just put the corn dog on your tracker already. That's rough. Yeah. I don't blame him for that thought process either. It's more of a moment of panic than anything. Oh, yeah, Dinner Dog's route is just so much better right now. Yeah. Yep. I mean, he also could have done those checks earlier, like Dinner Dog did, and that would have also prevented him using the library card unnecessarily. But him trying to use the library card to make up for the lack of a warp is just rough, genuinely very rough. Yep. Dinner Dog gets the Jewel of Open at the Holy Glasses location, and that's going to open up the caverns. Entirety of caverns, mines, and catacombs is fully available for Dinner Dog, and in fact, Spike Breaker yet again is available out of Logic. So it looks like Dinner Dog is in a fantastic position. The only places left to maybe bait is the last Vlad Relic being mist-locked, and then it's a 50-50 between... Oh, there's the random library card for Godchild. Hold up. That's actually so much better than it could have been. Godchild is still behind, but that random library card, I think, was literally part of his only win condition that still remains. Dinner Dog is going to have to make a mistake, I think, from this point onward, a relatively big one. And Godchild is going to need to get a little bit luckier, but that's step one. Getting that library card at the very least gives him access to that duplicator again, if he does end up finding money. We don't know how much money Dinner Dog has either. But the only downside is Dinner Dog has 2 library cards, which means he'll be able to use one, presumably buy the duplicator, and then have an extra one, which he can use an infinite number of times. So... it's going to be interesting, to say the least, how Godchild's win condition maybe changes later on. But right now, Dinner Dog, I think, is just running away with this. As long as Dinner Dog doesn't do anything crazy and nothing insanely lucky happens to Godchild, I think Dinner Dog has this in the bag. But there technically is still a world. Technically, there is still a world where Godchild maybe steals a little bit of something. That extra library card drop is big. It's also a library card drop from a bloody zombie, and they have a pretty common drop rate. And there's a chance that they go back through Alrox's quarters to check Alrox, the actual boss fight. So maybe another library card is dropped then for Godchild. It's not out of the question. Okay, nothing at Succubus. Like I said earlier, Dinner Dog does have access to the entirety of caverns. He has flight. He has the Jewel of Open. He has the Merman statue, so he's not going to get baited by a potential holy symbol location mix-up. He has Spike Breaker, so he can check the Spike Breaker location very safely, like he did last seed. So overall, things are looking really good for Dinner Dog. Godchild gets the Jewel of Open. He's technically not that far behind. All it takes actually is a handful of relic skips for Godchild, and he might, just from a position standpoint, get back in this. So it's not out of the question yet, but I just don't see what Godchild could possibly skip. It could also, depending on what the second castle looks like, come down to left side versus right side. That is a possibility. I don't see either of these players necessarily being ones to gamble on left versus right. Actually, I'm lying. Godchild would totally do a left side gamble, especially after the 2 mistakes he had earlier, actually. Godchild might be possibly setting up for, in his mind, a left side second castle. It is the unorthodox position to take in the second castle because you have a long drought between relics when you do Darkwing Bat into later on Creature. You also have to get the warp first before checking Darkwing Bat, which makes things a little bit weird. Random Vlad, Tooth of Vlad. There's only one Vlad relic left, and I think it has to be the max complexity Vlad. I think that has to be random, yeah. I don't think there's enough complexity on the board yet to hit 9. Unless the last Vlad relic isn't a Vlad relic at all, but is actually Holy Glasses? The only way for this not to be all 5 Vlad relics in the first castle is for the final Vlad relic to be mist-locked behind either Soul of Bat or Silver Ring. If the last Vlad relic is at Spikebreaker again, I don't know what to say. This is like winning the lottery twice when it comes to safe logic seeds. The fact that all 5 are in the first castle in one safe logic seed is already crazy. If it's 2 back-to-back, like, that's so rare. If God's Child is trying to take advantage of the fact that it is a longer preset with a lot more potential for, like, bait and, like, various different, like, complex routing decisions, he unfortunately kind of got shafted because these are not great representations of what safe logic normally looks like. Oh, there's Echo of Bat. Oh, no. That means Spikebreaker is in logic once they find Bat. And Bat could be in the second castle. Things are looking rough for God's Child. But it's not impossible. Again, there's a world, if Dinner Dog's controller explodes, Dinner Dog's dog shows up and chews the power cable. If God's Child hires a secret cohort of secret ninja assassins to show up to Dinner Dog's house and beat him up, these are all win conditions for God's Child. But is it going to happen? I don't think so. Dinner Dog opting to go to Merman statue location. This is honestly a very common relic to skip, in my opinion, is the Merman statue location when you're in caverns. Most races, I think in this scenario, it's actually a 1 in 3 chance from their position, right? Because the 3 remaining relics that they have access to that could be progression is Merman, Demon Card, and Grand Falloon. So it's a 1 in 3, and it ends up being nothing. God's Child could skip that and save a little bit of time back. If there was ever a time to skip Merman, it would be this. Yes, I do agree. Granted, again, it's still a 1 in 3 because they haven't found anything that was locked behind Jewel of Open yet, right? Because that was their most recent relic. I mean, I won an entire tournament off of skipping Merman statue. Like, all of my races between... In fact, every single race that I had versus Jupiter in the last tournament, granted it was all Lycanthrope, but Lycanthrope actually does have a similar structure to Safe Logic. It's just that Safe Logic is longer because there's no guaranteed transformation movement. But I won from just skipping Merman, and I lost whenever I didn't skip Merman. Skipping Merman has a 100% tournament win rate. So... No, Dinner Dog is still very much ahead. God's Child was ahead, or behind, I mean, by at least a couple of minutes. He'll save probably a minute and a half but if he skips Merman. And in this scenario, God's Child needs to feel like he's behind. So maybe he's more willing to skip some stuff. It's a 2/3 chance from his perspective that the next progression item is further along in the cavern, or in the mines or the catacombs, and not in the caverns anymore. So if he makes that call, he'll be saving a little bit of time. And he has that library card that can bail him out a little bit. So, oh, is he going for the save split? Oh, he just refills. Never mind. Hold up. Extra item checks. He opens the map. I mean, there's a Power of Sire right there. Ooh, it's Grand Falloon. Interesting. That does give God's Child time to kind of catch up maybe a little bit. Why did he... Okay, Hellfire. Oh! They don't have to pay for it! It's free! It's fucking free! What? 2 duplicators in 1 seed! One was 4K and one was literally free. That is an item check that I would not do personally. I would skip that. In this scenario, I'm skipping that item check. But man, you know, it's not bad, I guess. Whatever. Fuck. Shit, dude. Godschild did do the skip, by the way. He did skip Merman Statue, so he is getting... Wait, that means if Godschild does that item check, he has access to infinite library cards again. Oh my god. I don't think infinite library cards is going to 100% make or break this seed, but infinite library cards means that Godschild still has a chance if he maybe makes a gamble in the second castle. Like if he does left side, for example. Because then he can library card back once he finds the relic that he needs presumably in the... This has to be glasses. Dinner Dog needs to find glasses here. And the last Vlad relic cannot be at Spikebreaker for Godschild to win this, I think. Otherwise, I think... No! Godschild, the one time he's not greedy with item checks. The one time. Oh, he was doing so many item checks up to this point. So many. The one time. Oh, he's going to watch this back and be so mad. Honestly, I feel for you, Godschild. I'm not even... Again, none of this is blame. I think Godschild is playing 100% reasonably from his perspective. He probably is like, fuck, I'm behind. I cannot do extra item checks. So, he's going to need another random Vlad. Or, sorry, random library card. Oh, wait, hold up. Hold up. There's a chance still. Godschild is going to need another library card somehow. There are multiple library cards that exist. He could maybe find one in the second castle. It's not impossible. He's going to need to have enough money to buy the duplicator. And Dinner Dog needs to not find the final Vlad relic at Spikebreaker. It's possible that the final Vlad relic's at Spikebreaker, but it's also equally possible that it's... Wait. Is it? No, I think this is Jover, right? Because if it's mist locked, then Dinner Dog is just going to find mist here. I think it's Jover. It just delays the inevitable. So second castle doesn't matter, I think. Because this cannot be Bat. No. Did he think that he got the max? Did he think Merman Statue led to the final Vlad? He must have thought that that was the max complexity somehow. He's not even buying the duplicator. He doesn't have the money.
What can I do for you?
It's the final Vlad! Oh! It's Jover. It's never been more Jover. Another 45-minute seed? What the fuck? This is unprecedented. Godschild said, I want safe logic, because he got to choose the starting preset. He chose safe logic. He gets the weirdest safe logic seed, all 5 Vlad relics in the first castle. Says, no. That was just a fluke. Seeds like that don't happen very often. I'm going to run it back to get a more standard safe logic seed. He runs it back into the same shit twice. Like, oh, I think Godschild just realized his mistake. He's frozen. He doesn't know what to do. He said, fuck. Oh, they're tied, but it doesn't matter because Dinner Dog's got the final Vlad relic. They were tied. Oh, they're tied. Oh, it would have been so hype. It would have been so hype. Man. Oh, Godschild, no. He doesn't know what to do. Damn. I mean, still an insane race. I feel like the only lesson to be learned here for Godschild might be he maybe just didn't play to his outs when he could have. He was in a bad position no matter what. Like I said, he made the one mistake, which ended up leading to multiple in the long run. But I feel like when you're in a bad position, you kind of have to remove your emotions as much as possible and try and think, okay, what are my outs? If I'm in a bad position, I've made a mistake, what are my outs? And the tough side is, yeah, he is safe splitting. So he's going to go back to find Spikebreaker location, which is the final Vlad, which was just wasted time, unfortunately. And I think it's really tough to calculate what are my outs in that position because he has no idea what Dinner Dog is doing, right? If you assume that the opponent is playing better than you after you make a mistake, right? Let's assume like, okay, I made 2 big mistakes. If my opponent made 0 mistakes, I need to start gambling a little bit harder on certain things. I don't think gambling necessarily means skipping Spikebreaker. I feel like that was just him forgetting. I feel like he was flustered after the 2 mistakes and didn't stop to make a game plan, which is tough when you're in the middle of gameplay. Stopping what you're doing or playing through the seed whilst also trying to make a game plan at the same time is really, really hard. I have no clue where Godchild is going. No, he's going back to the caverns. Because I think this is his closest way to get to Spikebreaker because he didn't pick up any of the warps. Which is rough. But I mean, Dinner Dog being a top competitor here, having the composure, picking, honestly, in my opinion, 2 amazing like routes in general. Like, did Dinner Dog make a single mistake in routing? No, I don't think so. Is there a single route decision that Dinner Dog did that I don't agree with? Maybe checking Merman Statue, maybe skipping the Merman Statue check would have been, from my position, I probably would have done that. But other than that, like his route was very solid. He found the random duplicator, which was huge. He got a random library card drop, but I don't think it mattered because he was saving his other library card anyways. Like straight up, I think Dinner Dog's route just ended up being really, really good. The fact that they basically got like 2 of the same seed back to back is really, really rough. Someone checked the randomizer. I think the randomizer broke. The randomizer machine broke. Understandable. Have a nice day. Yeah, it wasn't necessarily a mistake, but Dinner Dog definitely didn't play the odds 100% every single time. But his routes were very, very solid. Even like the decision making that he made in race 1 to forego checking Gold Ring first, but instead check Silver Ring. Also, this route is technically slower than the other route, but it's easier, and he has gravity boots, so... And it's not that much slower. Actually, I don't know if this is technically slower without Bat. There's probably execution you can do to make the Chapel route slightly faster. But actually, I don't know. This might actually be faster without any transformations. So actually, yeah, no notes. Dinner Dog is fucking killing it. He should easily one cycle. He should easily one cycle with Duplicator. He also has Girthang if he needs backup. Yeah. Yeah, literally 2 unicorn seeds back to back, which is... Oh, man, God's Child, no. He just sat there. He just went... Like, I could feel the pain in him just standing there. Man. But he must continue. He must fight on. He stopped for a swig of beer for sure. Honestly, that's probably true. He probably saw that and said, you know what? And just took a sip. Not seeing much of Castle 2 tonight. I know! These were the fastest safe logic seeds I have ever seen back to back. That's crazy. Since this is a Canadian team kill, the winner of this does get a $20 gift card to Tim Hortons. So that's basically like a million Canadian, right? Right? I don't know how the conversion works, but I think a million CAD is about $20 US. Specifically $20 in value for Tim Hortons specifically. Sounds about right. Damn, another insanely fast seed. Dinner Dog would need to, like, put the controller down straight up and die in game. Maybe even in real life. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. Dinner Dog clears. GG's to Dinner Dog winning the tournament race here. 2-0, double safe logic, double unicorn seed.
I've been waiting for you.
Richter has been waiting for us.
Why is a Belmont
Man, honestly, I don't feel like Godchild necessarily played poorly. I feel like it was each seed he had like one mistake that ended up branching out into multiple mistakes later on. And because of that, it ended up hurting him in the long run. But overall, fantastic gameplay from both of these competitors. I had a lot of fun commentating this match. Probably like some of the best gameplay we've seen so far in the tournament, which is awesome. If you are watching right now on Twitch, don't forget to follow the channel if you haven't been following the channel. Clicking the follow button would be very, very nice. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channels, the main channel and the second channel. And if you want to stick around for some free channel points, one, I'm going to do the prediction payout. Big win for Dinner Dog. Congratulations. And if you want to stick around for some free channel points, I'll see if there's anybody to raid. I think Dinner Dog might continue streaming potentially. I don't know if he plans on continuing to stream and then talk about it. Probably, right? That'd be my guess. We'll go ahead and raid the winner. Everybody go and congratulate Dinner Dog. Show him some love. Thank you all for hanging out tonight. Great match. We'll be live tomorrow, right? No, we are not live tomorrow. Just kidding. We have to reschedule tomorrow's match. But we are live Thursday and Friday for tournament matches. Tomorrow, I should be live probably to do more all achievements. So, anyways, see y'all later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.